was a serial cheater. Kevin had different mistresses depending on, the part of his life. This last one was the one that he had the longest term relationship.
Shireena really thought she hit the jackpot when she got with Kevin and had a whole daughter with him. She was out here acting like her life upgraded overnight, while she and this man were secretly playing in Wendy's face for years. They were living off Wendy's money like it was their personal bank account, even scooping up $1 million house just 9 miles from where Wendy lived. Those alimony checks Wendy was sending Kevin every month, that was literally his only real income for a while. And trust, they were living fancy off those payments. Kevin kept trying to drag Wendy back into court, filing lawsuit after lawsuit just to get those monthly checks flowing again. But nothing worked, and everything crumbled even more after Wendy got shoved into that super questionable guardianship. Once that happened, Kevin's chances of ever getting alimony again were gone for good. Then Wendy's guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, came through and sued him hard for taking extra bonus payments from Wendy that he never should have touched. After all his lawsuits fell apart, Kevin dipped on Shireena the same way he dipped on Wendy, leaving Shireena behind with their daughter. And right after that, Shireena vanished from social media because people were dragging her nonstop. And here's the wild part. Not only did Kevin leave her handling everything with their daughter on her own, but Shireena is also broke and getting hit with lawsuits from her own bank for not paying thousands of dollars in credit card debt. All this chaos is happening while Wendy has been dealing with nonstop issues these last 3 years after that shady bank situation. Wells Fargo had Wendy locked into a guardianship she never should have been placed in, and it turned her whole life upside down. She was labeled as unstable, sent to different facilities against her will, stripped of her freedom, and treated like she couldn't make a single decision for herself. They even sold her penthouse, shut down her entire show, and gave her dog away to some random person like it was nothing. Her family was kept in the dark for years. At one point, they said they didn't even know where Wendy was being held, and whenever they tried to get answers from Sabrina, she wouldn't tell them anything straight. It was like everyone was moving in silence and blocking the people who actually cared about her. Wendy didn't just sit back either. She got multiple independent evaluations done to prove she wasn't dealing with the things they claimed, but every single one was tossed out of court like it didn't matter. Recently, though, things changed when a top neurologist in New York did a fresh assessment, and that report shook everything up. The findings said people dealing with frontotemporal dementia usually decline fast, but Wendy has shown serious neurological strength ever since she got clean and sober 3 years ago. The report even noted improvement, which doesn't match the diagnosis she was given at all. Now, Wendy's legal team is gearing up to file documents within the next 2 weeks, aiming to get a court hearing to end the guardianship entirely. And if the judge refuses to release her, powerhouse lawyer Joe Tana is ready to push for a full jury trial and let regular people decide whether Wendy should finally be free. And the way it's looking, everyone involved, Wendy's team, Sabrina, and even the judges who handled the early stages, might have all been part of the situation that kept Wendy trapped in the first place. Wendy is probably looking at all of this and thinking she's done dealing with every single person who tried to play her. She's ready to stand up for herself, and honestly, who can blame her after everything she's been put through? But even if she finally breaks free from this guardianship, that does not mean she's running back to her old show. Absolutely not. If she ever returns to that show, Kevin could try to use it as a reason to chase alimony again, and Wendy is making sure she never gives him that opening. She's staying 10 steps ahead because she knows exactly how he moves, and she's not letting him get a single dollar out of her again. When her show was canceled, her income didn't just drop, it crashed. Wendy went from earning millions every single year to receiving tiny residual checks that wouldn't even cover a grocery trip. And yes, it's real. In February 2022, she received a lump sum check for $1,952, and by January 2023, she was getting just $59. That's the kind of situation that would shock anybody. This is why Sabrina ended up suing Kevin, even though the divorce agreement clearly stated Wendy didn't owe him anything if her TV show ever got canceled. But because Wendy had his payments on autopay, Kevin continued receiving an extra $112,000 he wasn't supposed to get. Sabrina stepped in demanding that money back because it never should have left Wendy's account in the first place. Sabrina explained, "I believe this was largely the result of the fact that the payments had been put on an autopay function within her account." She also pointed out that Wendy's income has been extremely small since 2021, nowhere close to what she was earning in February 2020 or October 2021. and the suit stated that by keeping the funds he wasn't entitled to, Kevin was effectively holding on to money that never belonged to him in the first place. Kevin was out here messing with Wendy's money like it belonged to him, interfering with her right to access her own funds. Instead of backing off, he fired back at the lawsuit, claiming Wendy actually owed him up to 23 months worth of alimony payments. Then he took it even further by trying to convince the court to overturn the entire divorce, saying she hid a big chunk of her money during the split. But people keep forgetting, Wendy is way sharper than folks give her credit for. When Wells Fargo started pushing her into that guardianship, they estimated she had about $7.3 million in her accounts. But then her close friend Regina Shell submitted an affidavit saying that back in 2022, Wendy actually had $55 million sitting across her accounts. Regina even said, "She shared with me documents from Wells Fargo showing a cumulative balance of nearly $55 million. And once Kevin heard that, he slipped on his greedy shoes fast and tried to use it as an excuse to get the court to overturn the divorce so he could restart and even increase his alimony payments. He was ready to jump on anything that would put more money in his pockets. But Sharina pushed back hard. She argued that Kevin already knew what money Wendy had access to, and he still had no issues agreeing to the original alimony terms at the time. Sharina didn't confirm Regina's $55 million claim, but she didn't shut it down either. She played it very carefully while keeping the focus on Kevin's lack of evidence. She said, "I cannot address what Regina thinks she saw or heard, what a third person thinks she heard, or what that third person may or may not have reported to Regina." And she reminded everyone that Kevin wasn't even present and had zero personal knowledge about whether any of that interaction actually happened. A lot of people think the real reason Sharina never confirmed or denied anything is because Wendy does have that $55 million, and Sharina has zero intention of letting Kevin get even a single dollar from it. And honestly, this might be the only thing Sharina actually did right for Wendy throughout this whole messy guardianship situation, because Kevin was in that courtroom putting on the biggest performance, whining to the judge about how he fell behind on his car note, how he couldn't keep up with his insurance, and how he supposedly couldn't afford to stay in his neighborhood anymore. But the judge wasn't giving him any sympathy at all. He acted like getting a job or moving somewhere affordable wasn't even an option. He tried to make it sound like his entire life fell apart the moment those payments stopped, saying stuff like, "I have fallen behind on most of my bills. I currently live in a community that requires payments to the homeowners association, and I'm behind on that bill. If the homeowners association fees are not paid, foreclosure will soon follow." Then he went on claiming, "My car insurance hasn't been paid as a result of not receiving monthly severance payments. I'm behind on credit card payments because I have no money. Since the severance payments were suspended, my life has been greatly affected since the plaintiff stopped making payments." He really tried to paint himself as helpless, but the court still wasn't moved. The settlement agreement never promised him a lifetime paycheck, and once those payments stopped, Kevin and Sharina's finances just kept sliding downhill from there. Kevin has been scrambling for money for years now, and the trail of chaos just keeps getting longer. He sold their old place for $1.4 million back in 2020, then turned around and sold his Florida house too, trying to keep himself afloat. But the financial snowball kept rolling, and in April 2025, he lost that wrongful termination lawsuit against the show's producers, where he was demanding millions in lost wages. That loss hit him hard. Then, in June 2025, he tried again, this time filing a $250 million lawsuit against Sharina, hoping it would end Wendy's guardianship. He accused her of exploiting Wendy, saying she was isolating her and giving her too much medication. But the judge tossed the whole thing out without blinking. On top of that, UBS Bank came after him for not paying his credit card debt, which had climbed into the five-figure range, and that wasn't even the end of it. Reports say he also took out a loan from a company called Flex Wealth to cover 2 luxury cars, and he hasn't paid that back either. Now, the word on the street is that he's gearing up to do a tell-all interview with Gayle King just to grab some fast cash. And while Kevin is out here chasing every dollar he can find, Sharina has been dealing with her own storm, and the situation keeps getting louder by the day. People close to her say she's stressed, overwhelmed, and trying to hold things together while bills stack up and Kevin keeps dodging responsibility. She thought she was stepping into a soft life, but now she's carrying the whole load on her back. Sources say Shireena has been reaching out to friends for support because the pressure is getting real, especially with all the lawsuits, debt collectors, and online dragging hitting her at once. She didn't expect the internet to come after her so hard, and every time she tries to come back online, folks remind her of how messy the whole situation was from the start. Meanwhile, insiders claim Kevin has been jumping from one business opportunity to another, but nothing is sticking. He's been pitching reality shows, book deals, and even a fitness program, but nobody is biting because the drama surrounding him is too heavy. People don't trust his name, his reputation, or his story anymore, and that's making it almost impossible for him to bounce back. Now, rumors are swirling that he's reaching out to old industry contacts, trying to rebuild his image before that tell-all drops, because he knows once he talks, there's no going back. And everybody's watching closely to see who he tries to drag into the mess next, because Kevin loves to pull people into his chaos when the heat turns up. And then there's Shireena, who vanished off the internet completely after everything blew up. She wiped her socials clean and disappeared because the heat was getting way too intense for her to handle. Word on the street says she's now getting sued by her bank and by TJ Maxx at the same time, which is wild. She even moved back into her mom's house, trying to lay low while dealing with bills she can't keep up with. It's being reported she's been on EBT for a while now, and since a lot of people are saying their benefits aren't working lately, she's really out here struggling. Then someone leaked her TJ Maxx lawsuit, and it claims she owes them over $3,000 in unpaid charges. The stress must be hitting her from every direction. Shireena is definitely regretting ever getting with Kevin because he didn't just walk away. He dipped out and left her carrying everything alone. He left her with a whole child to take care of, stacks of credit card debt, nonstop judgment from the internet, and now legal trouble on top of all that. She's not just hiding from social media anymore. She's hiding from her bank and from TJ Maxx too. People online have been speaking their minds, like the person who said, "He is a despicable person. He and Shireena got exactly what they deserve." And another person said, "I always liked Wendy. She is not a liar. Kevin and Cena deserve all the smoke." Folks aren't holding back at all. Now I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about Shireena going broke after Kevin left her stranded? And do you think Wendy intentionally put that divorce clause in place to make sure Kevin never saw another dollar from her again? Drop your opinions in the comment section. I really want to read what you think. And before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment to keep the channel growing. Plus, click the next video to dive into even more messy drama.